again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric Sell. And I'm Rick Kessler. With me, Sherm and Goldenberg. We're from RV Business. And joining the two of us today are a couple of legends in the RV industry. Jeff Runels, president at Keystone RV, and Aaron Young, president overseeing Dutchmen and CrossRoads RV. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Both of us? Yeah, I guess so. Hey, thanks, Rick. Thanks for having us.
Jeff, let's start with you. Bring us up to speed on all that's been happening over at Keystone, really since the first of the year.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting year so far. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about that. You know, obviously the last 26, 25 months have been a roller coaster. We've been up and down, but since the first of the year, I would say smooth sailing, which you probably don't hear a lot of. I think things have been consistent. Dealers are trying to track what's going on out there, trying to get as much real-time feedback as possible on what's selling, what's not selling product, what's going over well and what's not. Obviously, customers are more fickle than they've ever been, and so real-time information seems to be at its most important. And so been a lot of learning, but I will say as tough as you've probably been hearing it is, and it is, I would say that it's also consistent. It doesn't mean it's great, but our plants have been able to get their feet under them. We've sized ourselves to be appropriate to the market, and so just playing a little bit of catch up. Product development has kind of come back to the forefront. You know, there through COVID, we just didn't have a lot of time to catch our breath and innovate. So behind the scenes, been doing a lot of work on innovating, coming up with the new whiz-bang stuff that hopefully we'll be able to unveil here as we get later into the summer, and then of course into open house. And that's kind of what we've been doing, is just preparing for an open house, because innovation and you know, fun new stuff is going to be what a lot of customers are looking for. And so we're trying to come up with the next big thing.
Okay. Tactically speaking, what's your approach to the open house? What do you do?
We're going to build RVs and show them. I mean, it's no. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. No, you know, I think one big difference for this year is we've had a steady stream of dealer partners through for the last probably 2 or 3 months. I mean, we usually see dealers throughout the year, especially you get the power breakfast. We'll get a number of dealers through, but this year, from the power breakfast to today, we probably had more partners through than I'd say the last 2 or 3 years combined. A lot of people checking up on us, wanting to see product. And it's been great for us because we get a lot of real-time feedback that way. They can see protos. Maybe usually we'll run 2, 3, 4 protos of a floor plan or of a decor before you see it at open house. And so a lot of dealers have learned over the last couple of years that when they are around, they can stop in and kind of see what we're working on, and we can get their feedback. And that's a little bit easier than having to send pictures or videos or even do drive-bys, which we do a lot of. So tactically, it's been kind of nice. I'm curious to see what happens at open house, because obviously in August, we're going to host a kind of a pre-open house here. All 3 companies will host pre-open house at the end of August, August 19th. But honestly, in the lead up to that, Aaron and I were just talking about that before we came on, that we've seen a lot of our dealer partners through. I think we'll probably see dealers through 2 or 3 times before we even get into open house. So we'll see what that changes for us. We're still planning on taking a full show. I don't think you'll see us bring any less than we did last year. In fact, I think you'll see more new product, new floor plans, some new innovations. So not a lot of change.
Hey, go ahead, Rick.
Well, I want to bring Aaron into the conversation, and really we can backtrack all the way to when Kyle Kwasny left to go take over Heartland. But Jeff, that gave you the opportunity to bring Aaron back into the company. Aaron, I think you were spending some time at a dealership after what, 10, 11 years with Dutchmen?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Rick. So departed Dutchmen after 11 years, 10 years, going on 11. Went down and became part owner of a dealership in the Panhandle of Florida for 13 months, just to really hone my skills in retail. It was a good experience, understanding the dealership from the front side to the back side. You know, all the years since I started coachman in 1999, you feel like you have a good grip on the day-to-day at a dealership from all the time you spend there with your dealer partners and, you know, the friends you've made in the industry who own dealerships. But it was definitely a unique experience, and I learned a lot. I really enjoyed it. But, you know, I have a kind of a new mindset towards the approach for the two companies that, I'm overseeing right now, and, taking some of those things that I learned at the dealership level and trying to implement some things that will help dealer partners with our company and our product.
Jeff, did it take a lot of persuasion to bring Aaron back in?
Well, he wouldn't order anything from us, so we finally decided we had to go get him. No, Aaron and I we never fell out of contact. Obviously, we've had a good relationship for years, and he knows Dutchman from the front to the back. So in all of the talking, there was a little nudging to get him back here, but as soon as we knew Kyle was most likely gonna go, there was no other guy for the job, and so we probably spent 4 months, 5 months, kind of talking back and forth until it felt right. And then of course, through the next thing that we're going to talk about, right on top of him after he committed. So he got back in, and again, as he said, he had a totally different perspective. I think all of us have gotten to learn some things, not only that he saw while he was at the dealership, but he saw about manufacturers while he was at the dealership. So he knows both sides really well. Has a totally different look at it. That kind of helped us make some decisions, which led into CrossRoads falling under him as well.
What? Go ahead, Sherm.
You go.
Just curious, as much as you care to expound on that, what's the divisions look like now? You've got CrossRoads and Dutchmen doing what with Keystone?
Yeah, so it's always been Keystone as a parent company to Keystone RV Corporation, to 3 really, you could almost say divisions: Dutchman, Keystone, and CrossRoads. And that really doesn't change under this structure. Going back, you asked me to go back to the first of the year. We probably should go back a little bit further. Obviously, coming out of COVID, it was all about finding scale so that we don't drive dealers off a cliff. Obviously, we learned a lot about suppliers. They learned a lot about how business can up and down so quickly. But we also learned a lot about our people here and quality. And so as we've started to kind of pare things down, one of the things that we've gotten pretty good at is scaling and doing things a little different than we had. Obviously, we've got a lot of different divisions within these 3 different companies and a lot of different brands. And one of the things that we've tried to do is get where maybe it's tougher, get like brands building with like products so that we can scale more effectively. Because the thing that we felt a lot of pressure on was bringing pricing down coming out of COVID. And as much as we'd all like to say, oh, vendors could just automatically cut those prices, it doesn't work like that. There's probably 2 to, in some cases, more than 2 years worth of product that's already in the queue. So we had to start that way back 20 to 26 months ago and getting that queue right. And then you have to right size and scale the plants around that. And now really what we've done over the last 4 to 5 months is the same thing with Dutchman and CrossRoads. Obviously not as many brands between those 2 companies. So figuring out where maybe they could benefit each other. We've never really approached it like that before. And now we are. And even behind the scenes doing a little bit of that with Keystone, CrossRoads, and Dutchman, where we could all benefit each other, whether that's lamination, maybe some of the support plants that we have. Obviously, we've always done it really well with customer service. And part of that is proximity, and that's where CrossRoads comes in. Topeka obviously is a little bit of an outlier, to sort of have a corporate office over there became a little bit more difficult, especially as we're starting to move quicker and quicker. And so we just wanted to get everything housed right here in Goshen. So now all 3 companies are housed right here in Goshen. That's probably the biggest change for everyone. We still have our Topeka campus. We still have our Middlebury campuses. Still have our Wakarusa campus, and obviously our campus out in Oregon and right here in Goshen. So campuses really haven't changed that much.
You said something earlier about the retail customer being very finicky. Was that your word?
Fickle, yeah.
Fickle. Thank you. I knew it was an F word. And
Don't
so
warn me about those.
so what's behind that? Why so fickle?
Well, they have the opportunity to be now. Obviously the economy's it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just in an election year, we always talk about election years being tougher. I think if you look at the numbers, not necessarily always tougher in shipments, wholesale, or even retail. It's just tougher because you don't know exactly what's going to happen next. And with dealer carrying costs being what they are, and Aaron could speak to this, it's tougher for dealers to be able to stock everything right now. Whereas, during COVID, not only could they stock and turn things, right now they've got to be really careful about the inventory they bring in and the costs of that inventory. And so that may not give all the customers the opportunity to go right to the lot and see it and touch it and feel it, because dealers might not be able to stock everything that they could have 2 or 3 years ago. And so that creates a ability for a customer to, look around a little bit more, ask more questions. And then obviously they're feeling the pressures of the unexpected or unknown for the election year. So they want to hold on to that discretionary income. So it's a give and take that we see every 4 years, with a little added pressure from what's happened the last 2 years.
We're talking product trends maybe for a moment. We know small is on the leading edge here right now, or smaller than maybe 5 years ago. And where I'm probably headed in part is toward that Coleman. But what do you see as a dominant product trend of the moment?
Small for sure. Small is not necessarily always relative to price, though. That's one thing I think some people miss out there. There are some of these products that we do a lot of 8 wide single axles. We also do a lot of 7.5 wide units out there, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the prices are lined up with what you would think they would be. A smaller unit doesn't always make it a cheaper unit. But small is definitely one of the hot buttons right now. Those 17, 18 footers, have been hot and continue to be hot. But I think also, like we talked about a few minutes ago, the industry is helping drive that a little bit. A dealer knows if I stock a 45-foot toy hauler or big fifth wheel right now, that's 4 times, 5 times, 6 times the cost of some of these little units. I can stock 2 or 3 of those. I can turn them 3 or 4 times. It's a totally different business strategy. And so you're seeing a little bit more of that inventory hit the lots, and then it turns and it becomes kind of self-fulfilling. So I'm not saying that the industry isn't pushing that way. I think we're helping push it that way a little bit. We're still getting a lot of looks and a lot of questions about the bigger stuff as well. I don't know if you want to fill in.
Yeah, I think just to echo what Jeff had said earlier, Sherm, I think the word to use for a lot of consumers, dealers, and manufacturers is deliberate. We're all being way more deliberate than we've ever been, and that is usually a necessity of a downturn in our cycle of business. So I see consumers being more deliberate with the payments they're willing to have, down payments they're willing to have. Maybe they stay in a vehicle, instead of upgrading to a bigger truck or something like that. So that keeps them in something smaller, more affordable. Same thing with us. The reason we're operating our companies a little different today is, being more deliberate about the actions we make, so we can, build the right products at the right price points, so our dealers can win, the consumers can win, and ultimately, if those two parties win, then we win as well. So I think deliberate is probably the best description I could use for that.
Let's come up with better words.
Well, I mean, it's Fickle's
Talked
good
about
too.
it. No,
Fickle. I just want to stay
you're
away
right.
from the F words.
No, you're right.
No
They
F
warned
words.
us.
Yeah, I guess, not to beat it to death, but the small trailer, when I learned, and many of us did, that the Coleman, at least for the time being, this tiny trailer was the top seller in America.
Yeah.
It was a stunner. It said a lot of things, including some of what you just said: smaller, cheaper, less expensive, etc. But it is amazing. If somebody had told you 5, 8 years ago that the Coleman would be the leader, even for a time, you wouldn't have believed them. I wouldn't have believed. But time marches on, huh?
Well, we both have had a lot of experience with it. Obviously, we pushed really hard, and it's if you look out there, kind of along with the Coleman, that entire segment, there are dealers today that are doing, whether it's a laminated or a stick, an Aspen, a Springdale, whatever brand out there, they're building 17 footers that we just didn't build, especially the way that we're building them 4 or 5 years ago. So I think we've all learned from that. Obviously, with a Camping World in particular, with Coleman, they've been very aggressive with that price point, and they've done it with multiple products for years. I just think that right now is a really good time, based on all the things that we've already talked about. Will help drive that that product and that entry level product in particular. Also, one of the things that we talk about, that 17-foot travel trailer now has taken the place of probably 3 to 5 products that we've built over the last 25, 30 years in this industry. Expandables, came and went, lightweight, shorter, high volume. Obviously camping trailers. When I got into the industry,
have gone way down.
I mean, that's how I got into the industry, was selling a lot of pop-ups, and that isn't the same market anymore. So you get this 17-foot customer, and it seems to be, or the 17-foot trailer, it seems to be a really good place for that customer to feel comfortable getting into the industry and into the lifestyle.
As you're bringing the dealer groups through, not only, recently, but until open house, and then even at open house, it's almost like this is your opportunity to say, welcome to the next generation of Keystone, Dutchmen, CrossRoads. What's your message to the dealers as they're coming through?
Well, that's a good thing to bring up, Rick. I will say that, especially for my two groups, we are being way more innovative than we've ever been. So we're trying to create new, unique products. We're trying to differentiate ourselves to create these unique value propositions for our dealers and consumers. We're testing materials we've never tested before. We've started an entire R&D lab that is running 45 to 60 hours a week. We are putting all types of emphasis on getting rubber roof off of units, getting TPO off of units, getting rid of lap seals, like all these components that we have had for all these decades that continue to be thorns in our side from the consumer experience standpoint. We're really trying to do things different, and go back to the word deliberate. We're being very deliberate about those actions. So I think when dealers come and visit us at open house this year, they're going to see some things they've never seen before. They're going to see some products built differently than they've ever seen before. They're going to see materials that they've never seen before, but they're also going to see materials that they're used to seeing not being on those units. So just trying to build products that will last longer and pull more people into our industry and give them a better, obviously buyer experience long term. So innovation's kind of the big thing for me, for my two companies. I know Jeff, has echoed the same thing with their R&D bay, their R&D lab. There's a lot of cool, innovative things coming out, and so many times I think in our industry, people use wood grains and new floors and new countertops and new backsplashes and, things like that is innovation. I feel like those are the bare necessities anymore. That's cool that we're doing those things, but that's not going to get us the new consumer. That's not going to draw more people into our industry. So we're exploring the material side of it. And I think this is the best time to do it. These times in these markets, usually breed more innovation for us anyways. So we're capitalizing on it.
Okay.
So if somebody's trying to track you guys down at the open house, go to the Thor complex, so to speak, Thor area.
Yes.
The Hall
So Sherm, you can come to the RV Hall of Fame. I am the baldest Thor executive, so I am the easiest. I am absolutely the easiest to find.
Yep.
Probably getting close to being the shortest. Maybe Quaz has that on.
Yeah, Quaz.
I think Quaz has the shortest. But Jeff is also the tallest, I believe, of all.
Nope.
Well, Bob,
Mr. Martin.
Yeah, Bob's got you by a few. That's true. Yeah. But yes, you can find us there. Just want to throw a few things out there too, guys. We know a lot of our dealer partners are going to be in town at the end of this month for the Forest River Open House. We've already, obviously had a lot of dealers call and ask if we were going to be around. So we've purposely set ourselves up in our sales departments and our sales teams and product around our companies for the end of this month. And to reiterate what Jeff said, we're also going to have our own thing for all three of our companies August 19th, that week of August 19th. So just remind the dealers, come out, stop in and see us. We'll be here. We'll be available. Love to take the opportunity to show some of the new stuff we got working and stuff that they'll get to see at open house as well. We know they're busy, but we'll be here.
Sounds good. Rick,
Yep.
you got anything else?
Yeah, Jeff, and I apologize because this is probably going to put you on the spot, but you've made some tough decisions lately, very tough decisions. But you're seeing this as an opportunity. I'm at least I'm expecting that to be the case.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we don't take any of the decisions over the last in my 20 years on this side of I rounded up 19 years, but 20 years on this side and the wholesale side, you know, obviously I was on retail for a short time before that. I've never seen anything like what we're going through right now. And I don't say that because it's all, you know, the sky is falling. It's just very difficult to anticipate what's going to come next. And so, you know, we made decisions 25 months ago that we're looking at today thinking, you know, okay, this one was good, this one was bad. So still having a lot of career left, hopefully. The best part of this is we are learning a lot, both of us. And we've talked about it, especially since Aaron's been back. It's been nice. He's been a great sounding board. Hopefully I've been a little bit of a sounding board for him. But for the next generation of people coming up, we're learning a lot. And so we are absolutely looking at this as an opportunity. And one of the things that Aaron just talked about, you know, we talk about innovation. We're also talking about telling a story. We have a lot of different brands between these three companies, but this industry has a lot of different brands. And it's really always, you know, no matter what happens out there, there's a basis that doesn't change: floor plan, look, and price. So you got to nail that for the customer and be able to tell your story. And so probably the biggest thing that this opportunity has created is everybody on this side is really hungry. That's not exclusive to our companies. Everybody's really hungry from the OEM side. How do we get our quality better? How do we push each other? How do we use new things in new places that we've never thought about before? And I think that's always an opportunity. It's a good thing for the customers out there. When we get hungry and when we have to fight and scratch and find a way to do things better, everybody wins. And so we've shrunk our size down as an industry, and as three companies within that industry have done the same. Now we're all going to fight to kind of grow it back out. Who can get to the new stuff first? Who can be the most innovative? Who can be cool? And so there's a lot of good resetting going on, a lot of teaching and training going on. And so we absolutely look at it as an opportunity. It's tough. The days are definitely longer and harder than they've been in a while. But we look at this, we're just excited, if not more, for this open house and the pre-open house. So I say it's really cool to see all the dealer partners coming through right now, because feedback, even when it's tough, is the best thing we can get. So you hit it right on the head. This is a massive opportunity for us, not only as an industry, but as a company, and we'll take advantage of it.
Very exciting to see guys looking ahead to the extent that you.
Hey, thank you. If you guys didn't notice, Sherm, Rick, we're having fun, and that is the most important thing.
You're having
for
fun?
me is having fun. I
He's
really
having
am.
fun.
I'm having a blast. This guy right here, he always keeps it pretty lighthearted, which is good.
Well, he told me to put a shirt on for this interview. I wasn't going to.
Yeah, it's going to get real weird. I'm sorry, guys.
Talking about lighthearted.
Jeff, one more question to put you on the spot. Where does Aaron Young figure into your starting five for the company basketball team?
Well, does Waterboy count?
I'm probably never getting off
Waterboy
the
count?
bench, Rick. I'm too short.
He's fast. He's really fast. Like, he'll be, as soon as this interview's over, he'll be back over across the street. I don't even know what hit me.
Got to make little rocks out of big rocks, right?
Starting 25. He's starting 20.
I like that.
I can shoot better than Bronny, though.
Oh.
Nice. Sherman, are we done?
I'm done. Yeah, great interview. Let's wrap.
We appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Sherm. Thank you, Rick. We look forward to seeing you guys. Make sure you come see us at Open House.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Always good to see y'all. Take care.